Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's really disturbing to see how some Sikhs in New York and New Jersey are allowing this CEO and director at SikhNet, Guruka Singh, you can see him there in the orange saropa, to teach Sikhi to the young Sikh youth when this Guruka Singh has nothing more than a Yogi Bhajan tantric yoga cult agenda at the bottom of his parchar. Now, many of you may not know, but this Guruka Singh actually keeps Yogi Bhajan's fingernails, his dirty fingernails, in his Gutka Sahib, in his sacred Gutka Sahib. This is by Guruka Singh's own admission. This is the pertinent pages from an article that Guruka Singh has published on 3HO's official website, where he describes how Yogi Bhajan gave him his fingernails and told him that it would give him a lot of power and magical energy. And then Guruka Singh proceeded to sacrilegiously place these fingernails in his sacred nitnam, or Gutka Sahib. Now, this is the Gutka Sahib that we all use to recite the 5 Banis every day. So it's Gurbani, and let there be no mistake about it. This Guruka Singh is sacrilegiously putting Yogi Bhajan's dirty fingernails next to Gurbani. Here are the pertinent paragraphs. Guruka Singh says, "Then he looked at me and extended the wrapped napkin to me, saying, 'You want these, right?' And Guruka Singh replied in the affirmative. He smiled and he said," he's talking to you about Yogi Bhajan, "they will give you a lot of power and protect you." What bull. I took the folded napkins, Guruka Singh says, gratefully, and thanked Yogi Bhajan. And this is the part about how he puts the fingernails in his nitnam. He says blah, 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 and then he says, "Amazing, kept the nail clippings in the napkin and placed them in my nitnam." There it is, right there in black and white. And Guruka Singh has never disputed this article. He's never taken it down, even amongst protests from Sikhs. And then he goes out and he preaches this Yogi Bhajan cult nonsense to young, vulnerable Sikhs. So again, I would like to know why the Sangat there in New York and New Jersey invited this Guruka Singh and the other SikhNet directors, who are clearly participating in a lot of un-Sikh-like practices, violations of the Sikh Maryada, and anti-Gurmat practices. You can see them here posing with members of the Sangat there, where they just got back. Evidently they were there May 10th. You can see Guruka Singh there in the background, Gurumustuk, and this Hari Jot Singh. And it's really disturbing. I saw Hari Jot in West Bromwich, that's near Birmingham in the UK, a few months ago. And he was teaching, again, to Sikh youth. We really need to write these Sangats and tell them to just beware of these SikhNet people. They have this Yogi Bhajan Tantra mantra at the bottom of their parchar. So I will try to get an address for these Sangat members there at the in New York and New Jersey, where these SikhNet people just returned from, so that you can write them and tell them to beware of this. Now, I'll just go quickly through some of these other violations that I have recorded, violations of the Sikh Maryada that the SikhNet people, directors and others participate in and preach. They're also putting on this midi-pidi camp in June, so you want to beware of that as well. These are all articles and documentation of the un-Sikh-like practices in violation of the secret Mayada. This is a Hindu last rite ceremony that Yogi Bhajan's wife, 2 sons and daughter, and some other 3HOers participated in, where they immersed Yogi Bhajan's ashes into the Ganges River with this Hindu pundit presiding over this ceremony. And this was completely covered up by SikhNet and the other 3HO organizations. It was reported by Anju Kar from the Sikh Free Press. And this was all described in this Hindu Paramatma Kirtan Ashram's newsletter. And when the Yogi Bhajan people got wind of this article, they immediately had the Paramatma Kirtan Ashram people take that newsletter down from the internet. But fortunately, we had recorded it and saved it on this way back internet app, so you can still view it. Now they invite the same pundit to their Yogi Bhajan solstice gatherings there in New Mexico, and you can see him there teaching his Hindu parchar, and you can see the Yogi Bhajan people there on the side there listening to this. They use terms like Aquarian age and other astrology terms which are against the secret Maryada. This Gurmukh is the poster yogi for the Yogi Bhajan group. She's hosted completely Hindu weddings where she's brought innocent 3HO people who think they're practicing Sikhi and they're not. They use Singh, Kar, and Khalsa in their names, yet they do all of these worships of Hindu gods and goddesses. And as you all know, as Sikhs, we do not believe in all of these many Hindu gods and goddesses. We believe in the worship of one God, and all our reverence and our worship goes to one God. The Sri Guru Granth Sahib is our only guru, whereas the 3HO people believe that Yogi Bhajan is their guru in all but name, really, because they pretty much worship all the time. So these are pictures of these Hindu gods and goddesses that are allegedly in Yogi Bhajan's wife's residences. They were sent to me by a family member who wants to stay anonymous at this point. But I think this should be investigated. I recognize the that room there. It's the dining room and the not the dining room, but the kitchen dining room there on the estate at Yogi Bhajan's residence and his wife's residence there in Los Angeles. So this is very disturbing. And she is supposed to have this, what they call her Bibiji, and she's supposed to be Panth Ratan. And yet there's some pretty good evidence that she keeps these Hindu gods and goddesses and does Murti Puja to them. This is some closet there that's been well kept for many years, it appears. That's, again, allegedly in this Inderjit Kaur Putty's, Yogi Bhajan's wife's residence. And there she is there. She's going to be teaching at this Midi-Pidi camp in June. So anybody who might attend that, please ask her if this is true and see what she says about keeping these Hindu gods and goddesses in her residences. And there you can see she's doing a puja with Yogi Bhajan there on the left, and this same Swami who was a lifetime pundit for the Yogi Bhajan family. You can see them, they're all doing this puja there in Rishikesh. So this same Swami, he travels around with 3HO people, and this Gurmukar even had a Hindu fire puja, Homa fire puja, in the parking lot of her yoga studio in Los Angeles. Now, Yogi Bhajan practiced astrology. You can see here some of his astrological charts. And the 3HO people, they do not consult Sri Guru Granth Sahib for giving names. They consult and use Yogi Bhajan's tantric numerology, they call it. And then they have a suggested donation that you're supposed to make when you get one of these spiritual names. So these are all things that are violations of the Secret Maryada. It says right here. You can read the text of the Secret Maryada. Now there's worship of these idols, Murti Puja, that's going on there at the Yogi Bhajan Dera. You can see here people prostrating before this golden Murti of this Baba Siri Chand, who was the son of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji completely renounced these and denounced them, his sons. He said that they were the evil ones. This says it in Gurbani. And here are the Yogi Bhajan people actually doing yoga in the Dabar there of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And you can see there they're sitting on Gurbani. There's a Gurbani there on that yoga mat. And this yoga student's actually sitting on it. These are all violations. I could go on and on about the many violations of the Secret Maryada that are going on there all the time. So again, it's really disturbing how these Sikhs in New York and New Jersey are sponsoring SikhNet, inviting this, quote, SikhNet team to come there and do their parchar. And, you know, just teaching these Sikh youth about this Yogi Bhajan nonsense. It's a cult around Yogi Bhajan. You can see how they prostrate at his death place. Guru Gobind Singh Ji told us not to worship at the graves of the dead, but yet they do this. And, you know, when I was in 3HO almost for 30 years around Yogi Bhajan, a lot of that time I witnessed people bowing to Yogi Bhajan, touching his feet, just like this in the picture. As I said, the 3HO people treat Yogi Bhajan as a guru in all but name. And this goes on even to this day. It wasn't until about 2009 that I discovered the reality. There was a book written by Dr. Trilochan Singh. Dr. Trilochan Singh spent months with Yogi Bhajan and exposed a lot of his anti-Gurmat practices in a book called Sikhism and Tantra Yoga, and I highly recommend it. I'll put links to that book in the description of this video. Now, something that Dr. Trilochan Singh talked about was how the Yogi Bhajan people were taught by Yogi Bhajan to meditate on his photo. Yogi Bhajan called it Guru Yoga, and this was the photo that they're supposed to meditate on. And you know, if that's not worshiping a guru, I don't know what is. Their Khalsa Council, this is all part of SikhNet, by the way, ended their meetings a couple of years back by doing this Guru Yoga meditation. They call it a Chakram meditation. And they all ended their meetings by doing that without doing an ardas or any other traditional Sikh practices. Here's the beginning of that newsletter, this front of that newsletter, where it talks about them doing this Guru Yoga. Here's some yoga students and 3HO people meditating on Yogi Bhajan's picture. You know, I mentioned how Guruka Singh keeps Yogi Bhajan's fingernails. Well, this is not the only instance of them keeping relics of Yogi Bhajan's, like his clothing and other items. And then they even sell these items to make money. This is Yogi Bhajan's tantric painting there in the Dabar of Sri Guru Granth Sahib in Espanola, where they keep, it's about 10 foot higher or so, and it looms over Prakash of Sri Guru Granth Sahib. Now, this is the latest anti-Sikh practice and violation of the Sikh Maryada that's going on. They're proposing to build a 10-foot high murti of Yogi Bhajan. That was the artist there, this Amrit Singh. The Sikh Dharma International, which is the Yogi Bhajan organization, is hand in glove, works hand in glove with SikhNet. You can see here they published on Facebook their intent to raise money, almost $100,000, to build this big bronze murti. They call it a huge 10-foot high murti of Yogi Bhajan to be placed at his death place so people can do murti puja to Yogi Bhajan. This just has to stop. And again, if the Sikhs in New York and New Jersey are not aware of this, they should be. All of these Yogi Bhajan organizations like Kundalini Research Institute, 3HO, Sikh Dharma International, SikhNet, they're all tied together. Let there be no doubt about it. My understanding is that they pool all their donations, so any donations you give to SikhNet are going to go to these anti-Gurmat practices and these anti-Sikh practices. So don't let it continue. Your donations only help fuel that anti-Sikh practices of the Yogi Bhajan people. This is a huge golden Ganesh that Yogi Bhajan kept outside of his ranch. What Sikh, prominent Sikh person is going to keep a huge Ganesh as a symbol for their entrance to their residence? Even though it says in Gurmani, it says, I do not adore Ganesha in the beginning and also do not meditate on Krishna and Shiva. I have only heard about them with my ears and I do not recognize them. My consciousness is absorbed at the feet of the Supreme Lord. And as I said earlier, Sikhs only worship one God, but yet the Yogi Bhajan people insist on having all of these Hindu gods and goddesses that surround their ashram there. They practice all of this other things. I don't know what they're doing here. It's bowing some rocks or something. They're doing their peace prayer day. It goes on and on and on. They do these wild dances there in the Darbar of Sri Guru Granth Sahib at their summer solstice gathering. Again, here's that same Swami there, more bowing to these Baba Siri Chand murtis. And the really sad thing about it is that SikhNet supports this Gurmukh, who's actively involved in taking young, innocent Sikhs and 3HO yoga students to Rishikesh, where she practices these Hindu fire pujas. I just posted some things recently about her having all of these 3HO people come there and do these fire pujas and chant these Hindu mantras. It's just really appalling. The Spirit Voyage is a Yogi Bhajan company. They're practicing and promoting these Shiva Kriyas, as they call them, and this is totally against Sikh Maryada and anti-Gurmat. Now, this is really important, how Yogi Bhajan people practice these Hindu mantras. This one in particular, Yogi Bhajan gave for all Sikhs and non-Sikhs to chant every single day. It's called the Vayanti mantra. It's supposed to be chanted every day, Yogi Bhajan instructed, and this was to be done in the Amrit Vela. Now, it's described right here in 3HO's literature how this mantra came from a Hindu pundit, this Patanjali, and he lived 1,000 years ago or so, a couple thousand years ago, I don't know. Anyway, but it's described right here in this document from the official document from 3HO. So please write these Sangat members in New York and New Jersey and tell them just not to associate with these 3HO people. It's really disturbing how they're teaching these Sikh youth and letting them be taught to by these SikhNet people. Thank you for your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.